All right, what's up, YouTube? I know I haven't put up a video about this in the YouTube clone series in a long time, but I go to college full-time online. I'm working on a degree in software development. That's eating up a lot of time, so I don't have time for like spare projects, especially something this big. But it bothered me that I left it with a lot of different bugs and just not finished and so forth and so on. And I had gotten a new computer since starting the project and everything like that. So I've done, this is video 53 of the series. And what I've done is I'm doing a massive refactor. And I'm not going to bring you through every step of the refactor because that would just be brutal and take a lot longer than we want. But as you can see, we've got a new color theme for the site. It's a lot like the YouTube dark theme that I use in this version of YouTube. Like, I know you can still use the white, you can use white or dark themes. But I kind of like the dark theme, so that's the one I went with. And as you see, I got this logo. We got the YouTube logo brought in. And I'm just working on a lot of little bug fixes that I'm finding. I did some upgrading, so let's get right down to it. So before I had the project on Cloud9, which is a great development platform and everything like that. It's got a lot of great built-in features and stuff, but since I've got a Windows machine now and I'm off my Chromebook, I had to use Cloud9 on the Chromebook. You couldn't really run any really good text editors, and let alone an IDE or anything like that. So now I'm running Microsoft Virtual Studio Code. So I basically cloned the repository, which was the master branch, which was everything was the 52, same as the 52 video branch, merged into the master branch. And I cloned that, and I did a bunch of stuff, and I outlined what I did in the README. So we were using a Material UI beta version, and they've released version 1 since. So I wanted to upgrade to version 1, so I did that. And that means a lot of stuff has to change. They changed some of the props for modals, menus. They changed some of the props for typography and buttons. They changed a lot of the properties slightly, just their naming conventions, I think, to be a little more semantic. They did that. So they changed the name of the package. I had to use the old package name. It was just Material UI. Now it's, or Material UI Beta or something. Now it's at Material UI/core, and then at Material UI/icons for icons. So I switched up all of that stuff. And on the back end, a big change was I got rid of Babel on the back end. Node, I don't see the point of having another extra step. Babel just used that import statement. I just went back to CommonJS, const express equals require express, and there's some minor changes, but basically it's just replacing import and export to, export becomes export, module.exports. Just a little bit of change with how the database, just a little bit of change through the code of different imports. Like I had to import the models slightly different to the server, and I think with the passport setup, I just had to configure a couple things around. One thing with our resolvers that use any resolver that uses AWS, we create this new AWS.S3 instance here, and before we just passed in the signature version and the region, and now we have to keep our access key ID and our secret access key in that config file that we created. So we created, if you remember, we created that config file, or folder rather, that brings in your production or your dev.js config variables. So basically, looking at the prod, so I don't show you my dev variables here, we need an access key ID and a secret access key property. And before we had those in the Cloud9, we had those in .aws directory, and we had those in a credentials file. And now we're just putting them right in here. They're in the dev.js file, but that file never gets committed to source control, version control, because it's in our git ignore, the dev.js file. So, and we're in development still. So, and we had to change a few more things. We had to change we changed our port. So I put the port inside of the config file now. So by default, React runs on port 3000, and I put the server on 3001. Now it used to be on 8081 and 8080, but now it's 3001 in the dev.js and process.environment.port and prod. And that leads to some more changes on the front end. That leads to, in the package JSON, you have to change the proxy for our OAuth. And you can just clone this repo. You don't need to do all these changes, unless I just want to go over them so you know what I did. I just don't want to say, oh, I just refactored, you know. So you have to refactor the HTTP link to be localhost. You may have already been developing on your own machine if you're following along. You can get rid of all the window dot local storages. They're no longer needed. That was something with Cloud9. It just didn't like that you just put local storage. It wanted the window in front of it. I'm converting, let's see if I can give you an example here. Converting some of these, so a lot of these I used a style, like an inline style component object here, instead of the built-in with styles. Material UI has a with styles higher order component that you can pass the theme into and access the theme in it, and that creates classes, a classes prop. So you can make sure you get your classes prop going in, and then you name your classes dot whatever. And all that has to do is you just change, say it was const styles equals an object, make it equal theme, a function of theme, and return that object. And then I just put things down to lowercase. It's just a better way to do it, and you can access the theme. I've overhauled the theme. I've customized the theme in here. That's how we're getting these different colors. We're getting this red as our secondary color, and you know, this color up here is our primary color. The bar is gray, and then the background is black. So that's all done inside the theme stuff. So I may do a second video on this. May be like video 53, maybe a couple parts in and of itself. So I revamped this. Before, this was the entire theme, just copied it, and now I'm only selecting the parts I want to upgrade. And I'm also doing some overrides of components. We didn't have that last time. This is something new that you can use. I've discovered. I've learned a lot more since I started this tutorial. And like I said, I wanted to come back and make this better. So one feature I've been working on is this share feature. Just making it look a lot better. Now it looks like this. This is our share feature right here. And let's take a look at their share feature right here. So they offer a few more options to share, but that's the actual YouTube share feature. That's our share feature. Their feature, our feature.